Hello guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video, I'll be continuing the How to Script series on Roblox. And in today's video, I'll be covering what tables are, or arrays, depending on how you know them or what you learn from them. I'll be saying them as tables. You can say arrays, doesn't matter. They mean the same exact thing. But, what is a table? Now, a table, I think of it as box information. So we have a variable here. And in these two curly brackets, which is what tables are identified as in Roblox, we have a whole bunch of names in here. We have Jeff, Penny, and Bob. Now, previously, if you want to have a bunch of names, you have to have local name 1 equals to, Jeff, and local name 2 equals to Penny, right? But, using tables, we can shorten that all down into one variable called people, and the people is equal to a squirrely bracket. You need these to show Roblox that this will be a table, and then it'll store information inside. And first value, which is Jeff, has a comma right after. This just shows that the first value has been completed, and we want to start making another value and a third value, etc. Now, you can also think of these spots as indexes. Now, what's an index? If you think about it, a table has all these slots. You have, Jeff in the first place. We have Penny in the second place. But if we want to grab the first thing in the list, but we don't know what its value is, we could just do 1. Okay, because this is slot 1. Let me print it out for you guys, and I'll show you guys what I mean by this. As you can see here, this table drop-down menu has shown up on us, and once you open it, it'll show you all the values inside. As you can see here, Jeff has an index of 1. This is his index. This is position in line. Penny is second in line with an index of 2. And Bob has an index of 3. How can this be useful for us? Well, if you want to access a table, what we can do is we can do print people. Now, this just prints a table. You already know that. But what we can do, you can do square brackets. Okay, these square brackets are what we can use to index something if you want to find a certain value. So if I index it and do, for example, 1, print people, first place, the first person. As you can see, Jeff is the first person. And we printed Jeff because we used the index of 1. And who has an index of 1? Jeff. We can also do others. We can also do Bob. But let's just say I put an index of 6, right? But we don't have 6 names. It'll simply return nil. That's because Roblox can find a value to return, so it returns nil. Now we know how to use tables. There are some functions made specifically for tables. And today's video we'll be covering 4 of them. Starting off, we have table.insert. This keyword table is a kind of parent to functions that deal with tables. So if I do table, it deals with anything that has a table. As you can see, people are a table, so we can use this table function to deal with things that we want to do or affect this table. Because we can't just do people plus 1. That doesn't work. We can't just add 1 people. That won't work. But if you want to insert a value, we can do table.insert. Now, there are a whole lot more functions, as you can see, way more. But we're covering these simple 4 that you probably might use mostly. So, table.insert. Table.insert needs two values. The people, or the base table. Remember, the first one is what we're going to be affecting, which table we're going to be affecting, and the second one is the value we're going to be inserting. So I want to insert, for example, Griff. Okay, so table.insert brackets, and inside these brackets we have 2 values. The table we want to affect or change, and the value we're going to add. So if I were to now run, our table has grew by 1. We have added a 4th index, and this 4th index is equal to Griff. And that's because we have added or inserted a value into this table. We can also do numbers. So if I were to run it, as you can see, at index 4 we have a value of 4. It's not limited to just strings. It can be numbers, instances, values, anything, really. Now that we know how to insert values into the table, what if we want to find values into the table? We already know that we can access values in the table by indexing, by using square brackets and a number. But where do we find this index? Where do we find this index? Well, we can find it by simply using table.find. Table.find is a function that will look through the entire table, in this case people, and will find what we're looking for. So table.find brackets in the parameters we want to put in people, and this is a table we'll be looking into or looking in, and what we're going to look for. So we need to give an exact name. So in this case we're looking for Bob. We want to look for Bob in the table, and then we want to print. We want to print this. So I'm going to move this inside a print. So now it'll print what position Bob is in. If I were to run it, 3. Bob's position is 3, which is not wrong. So by pairing this up, we can then do print people indexing table.find people, which is the table we're looking for, and then whoever we want to find. So if we want to find Bob and we want to print his index, we can just go into here and click on Bob and write Bob, and it'll always print out his index in the table, Bob. So what this little line of script does here is we print people table and we index. So we're looking into. Now this will return the value, not the index. So when you index something, we're looking for its value. If you want to find its index, you use table.find. But indexing requires an index. So we have to find the index first, and then we can index taking whatever value number 3 or the index of 3 has, which is Bob. Let's go to the next one. We have table.remove. Table.remove is a similar one we have. It just removes, as the name suggests. Similar things, we have to do people. Now, we need a position, as Roblox said here. We need a position, or a number, or in this case, an index. We can easily just do 1 or 2 or 3 for indexes. But the issue with this is, let's just say, I removed Jeff. But let's just say I don't know if I want to remove this 5th position, or I want to remove a certain value. What if I want to remove Penny? But I don't know where Penny will be. Penny might be in the front, in the back, or in the middle somewhere. But I don't know that. So what we'll do is we'll table.find. Since, as we know, table.find returns a number. And what so happens is table.remove requires an index to remove. So table.find people, and then we're going to look for Penny. So now it'll remove Penny from the table. It's only Jeff and Bob. And we can also assign a variable, for example, table.find. So local index equals to table.find people and Bob. This will return an index. So if we want to print index, for example, if you need a variable for something and you need to get its index of table or something, you can simply attach a local index or local anything you want to be the name of the variable to be equals to table.find and whatever you're trying to find. And luckily, if we don't have, like for example, if I just say no, we don't have a no in our table, but it'll return nil, which is expected. We don't have anything, so it'll return nil, which is good for finding things. For example, if you already have equipped something or achieved an achievement, and you want to see if they have found it. So that's how a table.find works in variables, and that's how table.remove works in general. Removing things using indexes. Now for the last one, which is my favorite, table.clear. Table.clear is one of the easiest ones to understand, as all it requires is a table. Literally just a table. And if I were to run, as you can see, the table has been wiped. This is usually good for a restarting mechanism. If you want to restart something and you don't want to keep the old values and you want to have a new set of values in, table.clear would be your friend. A quick summary of what each table.function does. Table.insert is pretty simple in its ways of just inserting values into the table that we want and whatever value we want. Table.find. We find the value returning its index. As we covered, an index is position of the value in the table. And table.remove removes a value from the table by finding its index. So we find its index or position and we remove it. And table.clear just wipes out the entire table. That is really it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed.